Hello, I'm Essay, your AI essayist. Please note that all content, audio and video in this presentation are AI generated. As AI can sometimes produce inaccuracies, I encourage you to verify any factual information presented. With that in mind, let's begin.
The transmission of ancient Greek dramatic texts across centuries presented a formidable challenge, one demanding both meticulous scholarship and inspired intuition. Before the advent of figures like Demetrius Triclinius, the plays of Euripides, Aeschylus, and Sophocles existed in a state often marred by accumulated errors, inconsistencies, and interpolations. These textual imperfections stem from the laborious process of manual copying, where scribble mistakes, misunderstandings of archaic language, and even deliberate alterations gradually distorted the original works. The result was a textual landscape riddled with uncertainties, hindering a clear understanding of the playwright's intentions and poetic artistry. Demetrius Triclinius emerged as a transformative figure in this landscape, revolutionizing the approach to editing Greek dramatic texts. His work on Euripides exemplifies his innovative methods, characterized by a profound understanding of Greek metrics, a systematic collation of available manuscripts, and a willingness to propose bold emendations based on reasoned judgment. Triclinius sought to establish accurate and reliable texts, striving to recover the original form of the plays as conceived by their authors. A cornerstone of Triclinius's approach lay in his mastery of Greek meters. He possessed an unparalleled understanding of the intricate rhythms and patterns that govern Greek dramatic verse. This expertise allowed him to identify metrical irregularities within the texts, irregularities that often betrayed the presence of scribble errors or later additions. By meticulously analyzing the metrical structure of each line, Triclinius could detect deviations from established patterns and propose corrections that restored metrical integrity. His method involved a careful comparison of multiple manuscripts, a process known as collation. Triclinius examined variant readings across different copies of the plays, seeking to identify the most accurate and authentic versions of each passage. This comparative analysis enabled him to distinguish between genuine readings, scribble errors, and intentional alterations. He did not blindly accept any single manuscript as definitive, instead weighing the evidence from various sources to arrive at the most plausible reconstruction of the original text. Beyond collation, Triclinius was unafraid to introduce emendations, or corrections, to the text where he believed it was demonstrably corrupt. These emendations were not arbitrary guesses, but were grounded in his deep understanding of Greek language, metrics, and dramatic convention. He justified each emendation with detailed explanations, demonstrating how it resolved metrical irregularities, clarified obscure passages, or restored consistency to the overall meaning of the play. This willingness to intervene in the text, guided by rigorous scholarship, marked a departure from earlier, more conservative approaches to textual criticism. The problem of lyric corruptions in Euripides was particularly acute. The lyrical passages, often sung by the chorus, were especially prone to errors due to their complex metrical structures and less common vocabulary. Scribes, unfamiliar with the intricacies of lyric meter, frequently introduced mistakes that disrupted the rhythm and sense of these passages. Triclinius devoted considerable attention to these lyric sections, applying his metrical expertise to identify and correct corruptions. He meticulously analyzed the structure of each strophe, identifying deviations from established metrical patterns and proposing emendations that restored metrical regularity. Consider, for example, a specific instance of Triclinius's editorial intervention in Euripides. In a choral ode, a particular line exhibited a metrical irregularity, disrupting the flow of the verse. The manuscript reading presented a sequence of syllables that did not conform to any recognized metrical pattern. Triclinius, recognizing this anomaly, proposed an emendation involving a slight alteration of the text. He suggested replacing one word with a synonym that possessed a different metrical shape. This seemingly minor change had a profound effect, restoring the line to its proper metrical form. The original error likely arose from a scribble misreading or a misunderstanding of the intended meter. The scribe, perhaps unfamiliar with the specific metrical scheme employed in the ode, inadvertently introduced a word that disrupted the rhythm. Triclinius's emendation, based on his deep knowledge of metrics, rectified this error and restored the line to its original elegance. The justification for Triclinius's emendation rested on several grounds. First, it resolved the metrical irregularity, bringing the line into conformity with the surrounding verse. Second, the proposed synonym was contextually appropriate, preserving the meaning of the passage. Third, Triclinius provided a detailed explanation of the metrical principles underlying his emendation, demonstrating its adherence to established rules of Greek versification. This combination of metrical accuracy, semantic appropriateness, and scholarly justification made his emendation highly persuasive. His meticulous approach to textual criticism, particularly his focus on metrical analysis and reasoned emendation, set a new standard for the editing of Greek dramatic texts. While he built upon the foundations laid by earlier grammarians and commentators, his systematic methodology and profound understanding of Greek verse marked a significant advance in the field. He was influenced by earlier metrical theorists, such as Housman, whose work provided a framework for understanding Greek meters. But Triclinius went further in applying these principles to the practical task of editing dramatic texts. Triclinius's work on Euripides, characterized by its rigorous scholarship and insightful emendations, had a lasting impact on the study of Greek drama. His editions of the plays became standard texts for subsequent generations of scholars, providing a more accurate and reliable foundation for understanding Euripides' art. His meticulous approach to textual criticism influenced later scholars, such as Porson, further refined the methods of textual analysis and emendation. Triclinius's legacy lies not only in his specific corrections to the text of Euripides, but also in his transformative approach to textual scholarship, an approach that continues to inform the study of classical literature to this day. His profound contribution extended into the realm of Greek metrics, evidenced by his treatise, Demetrius Poetices. This work addressed a significant intellectual challenge of the absence of of an accessible and comprehensive guide to the intricate metrical systems employed in Greek dramatic poetry. Earlier works on metrics existed, but they often lacked the clarity and systematic approach needed for practical application. Triclinius provided a unique solution in the form of a detailed treatise that methodically categorized and elucidated diverse metrical schemes. To Metris Poetices stands as a testament to his deep understanding of the rhythmic structures underpinning Greek verse. The treatise offered a structured framework for analyzing and appreciating the nuances of poetic composition. The foundation of Triclinius's metrical analysis lay in the identification and classification of various metrical feet. He meticulously examined and explained the properties of dactyls, consisting of one long syllable followed by two short syllables, trochees, comprised of one long and one short syllable, iambs, with one short and one long syllable, and anapists, formed by two short syllables followed by a long one. His explanations went beyond mere definition, providing concrete examples drawn directly from the plays of Euripides. For instance, in analyzing the opening lines of Euripides ****, Triclinius demonstrated how the playwright skillfully employed a combination of iambs and trochees to establish the sonatone of the tragedy. He meticulously scanned each line, marking the long and short syllables and identifying the prevailing metrical pattern. This attention to detail allowed him to reveal the subtle ways in which Euripides manipulated meter to enhance the emotional impact of his verse. His examination of the osts revealed Euripides' creative use of anapists to build momentum and heighten dramatic tension in choral odes. Triclinius showed how the rapid, driving rhythm of the anapstic meter contributed to the overall sense of urgency and excitement in these passages. By carefully analyzing the metrical structure, he was able to illuminate the artistic choices made by Euripides and their effect on the audience. A crucial aspect of Triclinius' metrical work involved identifying and correcting metrical errors found in manuscripts. He recognized that scribble errors could disrupt the intended rhythm of the verse, leading to misinterpretations of the text. To address this problem, he developed a set of principles for detecting and amending metrical irregularities. These principles were rooted in his deep understanding of Greek grammar, prosody, and poetic conventions. When encountering a line that deviated from the expected metrical pattern, Triclinius would first carefully examine the surrounding context to determine the most likely cause of the error. He considered various possibilities, such as the omission or addition of syllables, the substitution of one metrical foot for another, or the misreading of a letter or word. He then proposed emendations that would restore the correct meter while preserving the meaning and sense of the passage. In one instance, Triclinius identified a metrical error in a line from Aeschylus *7 against Thebes *. The line, as it appeared in the manuscript, contained an extra syllable, disrupting the iambic trimeter. After careful analysis, Triclinius concluded that a scribe had inadvertently added a superfluous word. He proposed deleting the word, which restored the correct meter and proved the overall clarity of the passage. His approach to metrical emendation was influenced by earlier scholars, particularly Housman, whose ** and Critic Demetrius ** provided a foundational understanding of Greek meter. Housman's work offered a comprehensive overview of the different metrical feet and their combinations, as well as a discussion of the principles of Greek rhythm and harmony. Triclinius expanded upon Housman's work by applying these principles to the practical task of editing dramatic texts. He went beyond simply identifying and classifying metrical patterns, developing a systematic approach to correcting metrical errors and restoring the intended rhythm of the verse. Triclinius's work also built upon the work of Aristophanes of Byzantium, whose accentual theories, although distinct from Triclinius's focus on quantitative meter, highlighted the importance of careful attention to the sound and rhythm of Greek. Triclinius, in a sense, provided a more formalized and systematic approach to the sonic qualities of verse that Aristophanes had intuitively grasped. His contributions had a direct impact on Thomas Magister, a Byzantine grammarian and scholar who lived slightly before Triclinius. Thomas Magister, also involved in recensions of classical texts, appears to have been influenced by Triclinius's meticulous approach to metrics in his own work on the Greek tragedians. To Metris Poetices remains a valuable resource for students of Greek literature to this day. It provides a clear and accessible introduction to the complex world of Greek meter, offering a solid foundation for understanding the rhythmic structure of Greek verse. Scholars continue to consult Triclinius's treatise when studying the works of Euripides, Aeschylus, and Sophocles, recognizing its enduring significance as a guide to the intricacies of Greek poetic composition. The treatise serves as a starting point for anyone seeking to delve into the technical aspects of Greek poetry. The principles outlined in ** Demetrius Poetices ** continue to inform modern scholarship on Greek meter. While our understanding of certain aspects of Greek prosody has evolved since Triclinius's time, his systematic approach to analyzing and classifying metrical patterns remains relevant. Scholars often build upon his work, refining his classifications and developing new methods for studying Greek verse. His meticulous approach to textual criticism, particularly his emphasis on metrical correctness, influenced subsequent generations of scholars. Richard Bentley, the renowned 18th century classicist, adopted a similar approach in his own work on Greek and Latin texts, paying close attention to metrical irregularities and using metrical considerations as a guide to emendation. Bentley's work, in turn, influenced later scholars such as Housman, who further refined the methods of textual criticism and applied them to a wider range of classical texts. Triclinius's legacy extends beyond his specific contributions to the study of Greek meter. His work exemplifies the importance of careful observation, systematic analysis, and rigorous scholarship in the pursuit of knowledge. His commitment to understanding the intricacies of Greek verse serves as an inspiration to scholars to this day. Having meticulously analyzed the structure of dramatic verse, Demetrius Triclinius turned his discerning eye toward the texts themselves, embarking on a project of textual criticism that would leave an indelible mark on the study of Greek tragedy. He produced critical editions of Aeschylus and Sophocles, texts that had suffered the inevitable corruptions of centuries of copying and recopying. Triclinius approached these works with a blend of philological rigor, metrical sensitivity, and a willingness to intervene in the text when he believed it was necessary to restore its original form. Triclinius's editorial principles were rooted in a deep understanding of the mechanics of Greek verse. He believed that the original texts of the tragedians adhered to strict metrical rules, and he used these rules as a guide in his efforts to amend corrupt passages. His approach to variant readings was systematic. He carefully collated multiple manuscripts, comparing their readings and attempting to determine which reading was most likely to be authentic. He did entertain conjecture, proposing his own emendations when he believed that all of the existing readings were flawed. This willingness to depart from the manuscript tradition was a hallmark of his approach, setting him apart from some of his contemporaries who were more inclined to adhere closely to the received text. His work on Aeschylus *** provides a compelling example of his editorial principles in action. In one particularly challenging passage, the manuscripts presented a reading that seemed metrically irregular and difficult to construe. The original reading presented a grammatical ambiguity that obscured the intended meaning. Triclinius, after careful consideration, proposed an emendation that resolved both the metrical irregularity and the grammatical problem. His emendation involved a subtle alteration of a single word, a change that he justified by appealing to both the metrical requirements of the passage and the overall dramatic context of the play. He argued that his emendation not only restored the correct meter but also clarified the meaning of the passage, making it more consistent with Aeschylus's overall artistic vision. Another instance of his editorial intervention can be found in Sophocles *HX*. In this tragedy, a line appeared to be incomplete and metrically deficient. The manuscripts offered several different readings, none of which seemed entirely satisfactory. Triclinius, drawing on his deep knowledge of Sophoclean style and meter, proposed an entirely new line to fill the gap. His proposed line not only completed the meter, but also added a layer of dramatic irony to the passage, enhancing its overall impact. He defended his emendation by pointing to similar passages in other Sophoclean plays, arguing that his proposed line was consistent with Sophocles' characteristic use of language and imagery. This bold intervention, while controversial, demonstrated Triclinius' confidence in his own judgment and his commitment to restoring the text to its presumed original state. Triclinius' approach to textual criticism was not without its critics. Some scholars questioned his willingness to depart from the manuscript tradition, arguing that he was too quick to amend passages that might simply reflect variations in dialect or style. Others challenged his metrical theories, suggesting that he was imposing an overly rigid system on the fluid and evolving language of Greek tragedy. Despite these criticisms, Triclinius' editions of Aeschylus and Sophocles were widely influential, shaping the way that these plays were read and understood for centuries. His collation of manuscripts represented a significant advance in the field of textual criticism. He meticulously compared different versions of the plays, noting variations in spelling, grammar, and word choice. This painstaking work allowed him to identify errors and inconsistencies that had crept into the text over time. He sought to reconstruct the original text by carefully weighing the evidence from different manuscripts and selecting the readings that seemed most likely to be authentic. This process of collation and comparison was a crucial step in the development of modern textual criticism, laying the groundwork for the more sophisticated methods that would be developed in later centuries. Triclinius' editorial decisions, while sometimes debated, had a tangible impact on subsequent editors of Aeschylus and Sophocles. Scholars like Turnebus, for example, directly engaged with Triclinius' emendations, sometimes accepting them, sometimes rejecting them, but always taking them seriously as contributions to the ongoing effort to understand and interpret the Greek tragedians. Turnebus, in his own editions of the plays, frequently cited Triclinius' readings, acknowledging his influence and engaging in detailed discussions of his proposed emendations. This direct engagement with Triclinius' work helped to ensure that his ideas continued to circulate and to shape the course of classical scholarship. Triclinius' dedication to accurate textual analysis resonated deeply within the burgeoning intellectual circles of the Renaissance. His editions, meticulously crafted and thoughtfully annotated, provided a vital resource for scholars eager to engage with the masterpieces of Greek tragedy. The Italian Renaissance, with its fervent embrace of classical learning, proved particularly receptive to Triclinius' contributions. Aldus Manutius, the Venetian printer and publisher, played a pivotal role in disseminating Greek texts throughout Europe. His Aldine editions, renowned for their elegant typography and scholarly accuracy, became standard references for generations of scholars. Manutius directly incorporated Triclinius' readings into his editions of the Greek tragedians, particularly Euripides. Manutius' Euripides, printed in modern 1733, showcases numerous instances where Triclinius' emendations were adopted, attesting to the high regard in which his scholarship was held. This dissemination contributed significantly to establishing Triclinius' interpretations as authoritative within the broader scholarly community. Across the Alps, in France, the humanist movement similarly embraced Triclinius' work. Henry Eschen, a member of the esteemed Eschen printing family, produced influential editions of the Greek classics. Eschen, like Manutius, drew extensively upon Triclinius' scholarship, incorporating his textual emendations and metrical analyses into his own editions of Sophocles and Aeschylus. Eschen's 1768 edition of Aeschylus, for example, reflects a deep engagement with Triclinius' commentary, adopting many of his proposed readings and acknowledging his contributions in the preface. This adoption further solidified Triclinius' influence on the textual tradition of the Greek tragedians. The impact of Triclinius' work extended beyond the simple adoption of his readings. His meticulous approach to textual criticism, characterized by careful examination of manuscripts and a willingness to propose bold emendations, stimulated lively debates among scholars. While many embraced his proposed changes, others questioned their validity, leading to a dynamic process of scholarly inquiry and refinement. These debates, often conducted through published commentaries and annotations, helped to sharpen the tools of textual criticism and to foster a deeper understanding of the complexities of the Greek language. Consider, for instance, the various interpretations of a difficult passage in Sophocles *Oedipus Rex*. Triclinius proposed a specific emendation to clarify an ambiguous line, altering the meaning in a subtle yet significant way. While some scholars lauded his ingenuity, others argued that his emendation was unnecessary or that it distorted the original intent of the author. These dissenting voices prompted further investigation into the manuscript tradition, leading to alternative readings and a more nuanced appreciation of the challenges involved in reconstructing the text. One particularly contentious area concerned Triclinius' treatment of the chorus in Greek tragedy. He often restructured choral odes to conform to his understanding of metrical regularity, sometimes introducing significant changes to the text. While some scholars praised his efforts to restore what he believed to be the original form of the odes, others criticized his interventions as overly intrusive, arguing that they disrupted the dramatic flow and lyrical beauty of the choral passages. These debates continue to resonate with scholars today, highlighting the subjective element inherent in textual criticism and the difficulty of definitively determining the author's original intentions. The 18th and 19th centuries witnessed a renewed interest in Greek metrics and textual criticism, building upon the foundations laid by scholars like Triclinius. Richard Porson, the celebrated English classicist, emerged as a leading figure in this movement. Porson possessed an unparalleled command of Greek grammar and metrics, and he applied his formidable intellect to the study of the Greek tragedians. He directly engaged with Triclinius' work, meticulously examining his emendations and metrical analyses. Porson, while acknowledging Triclinius' contributions, also identified errors in his work and proposed his own corrections. He refined Triclinius' metrical theories, developing a more sophisticated understanding of the rhythms and patterns of Greek verse. Porson's law, for example, a fundamental principle of Greek iambic trimeter, represented a significant advancement beyond Triclinius' understanding of the meter. Porson demonstrated that in iambic trimeter, a word break is exceedingly rare after the seventh syllable or before the fifth if that syllable is short. This discovery allowed him to correct numerous errors in the text of the tragedians, including some that had eluded Triclinius. In his edition of Euripides ***, Porson meticulously analyzed Triclinius' commentary, pointing out instances where he believed Triclinius had misinterpreted the text or misapplied metrical principles. In one particular passage, Triclinius had proposed an emendation to restore what he believed to be a regular iambic trimeter. Porson, however, demonstrated that Triclinius' emendation was unnecessary and that the original reading, with a slight adjustment in pronunciation, could be scanned as a perfectly acceptable iambic line. This correction, based on a deeper understanding of Greek metrics, exemplified Porson's superior scholarship and his willingness to challenge even the most established authorities. Porson's influence extended far beyond his own publications. He trained a generation of classical scholars who carried on his work and further refined the methods of textual criticism. Figures such as Peter Elmsley and Thomas Gaisford were directly influenced by Porson's meticulous approach and his unwavering commitment to accuracy. Elmsley, in his own editions of Sophocles and Euripides, frequently cited Porson's emendations, acknowledging his debt to the master. Gaisford, as editor of the ***Poeti Resi Minors**, similarly drew upon Porson's scholarship, incorporating his corrections and insights into his own work. The legacy of Triclinius, filtered through the lens of Porson's rigorous scholarship, continued to shape the field of classical studies throughout the 19th century. Housman, the renowned poet and classicist, stands as a testament to this enduring influence. Housman, known for his exacting standards and his scathing critiques of sloppy scholarship, admired Porson's intellectual rigor and his unwavering commitment to textual accuracy. While Housman did not explicitly engage with Triclinius' work in detail, his approach to textual criticism, characterized by a meticulous examination of manuscripts and a willingness to challenge established readings, clearly reflected the influence of Porson, who in turn had built upon the foundations laid by Triclinius. Housman's relentless pursuit of textual accuracy, exemplified in his editions of Menelaus and Juvenal, can be seen as a continuation of the tradition of critical scholarship that began with Triclinius and was refined by Porson. The transmission of Triclinius' work through figures like Manutius, Aeschylus, Porson, and ultimately informing even the exacting standards of Housman, demonstrates the enduring power of his scholarship. His meticulous approach to textual criticism and metrical analysis, while subject to debate and refinement, provided a crucial foundation for subsequent generations of scholars, ensuring that the masterpieces of Greek tragedy continued to be studied and appreciated for centuries to come. Modern assessments of Demetrius Triclinius' work reveal a complex legacy, one where appreciation for his pioneering efforts coexists with critical scrutiny of his methods and conclusions. His enduring significance lies in his role as a pivotal figure in the transmission and interpretation of Greek tragedy, a scholar who dared to engage directly with the texts and to propose emendations based on his understanding of meter and dramatic context. This active engagement, while sometimes leading to readings now considered incorrect, nevertheless spurred generations of scholars to grapple with the challenges of reconstructing the original texts of Aeschylus, Sophocles, and Euripides. Triclinius' strengths as a textual critic are evident in his meticulous collation of manuscripts and his keen awareness of metrical irregularities. He possessed an impressive command of Greek grammar and prosody, allowing him to identify potential errors and to suggest plausible corrections. His willingness to challenge established readings, even those supported by multiple manuscripts, demonstrates a confidence in his own judgment and a commitment to uncovering the authentic voice of the tragedians. This boldness, however, also constitutes a significant weakness. Triclinius sometimes prioritized metrical regularity over semantic coherence, resulting in emendations that, while improving the rhythm of the line, arguably distorted its meaning. Ongoing debates surrounding Triclinius' emendations center on the question of authorial intent versus scribal error. Did Triclinius accurately discern the original words of the playwrights, or did he impose his own aesthetic preferences on the texts? Modern scholars, armed with a greater understanding of scribal practices and the evolution of the Greek language, often view Triclinius' interventions with a more critical eye. They recognize that many of the irregularities he sought to eliminate may have been intentional stylistic choices on the part of the tragedians, or simply variations in dialect or usage that reflected the diverse linguistic landscape of ancient Greece. The advent of modern textual criticism, with its emphasis on stemmatics and the rigorous analysis of manuscript relationships, has further complicated our understanding of Triclinius' work. Stemmatics, a method pioneered by Carl Lachmann, seeks to reconstruct the archetype, the presumed original manuscript from which all extant copies are derived. by tracing the lines of descent and identifying shared errors. This approach allows scholars to make informed decisions about which readings are most likely to be authentic, based on the weight of manuscript evidence and the principles of textual transmission. Papyrological discoveries, particularly the unearthing of early fragments of Greek tragedies, have provided valuable new evidence for assessing the validity of Triclinius's emendations. These fragments, often predating the medieval manuscripts on which Triclinius relied, can confirm or refute his readings, offering a glimpse into the textual history of the plays before the era of systematic scholarly intervention. Triclinius's lasting contributions to the field of classical scholarship are undeniable. Despite the criticisms leveled against his methods, he played a crucial role in establishing a more accurate and accessible text of the Greek tragedians, making their works available to a wider audience of readers and scholars. His editions, though imperfect, served as the foundation for subsequent generations of textual critics who built upon his work and refined his insights. His meticulous attention to meter and his willingness to engage with the texts on a deep level inspired others to approach the study of Greek grammar with similar rigor and passion. One specific example highlighting his enduring influence can be seen in the work of Aeschylus. While Housman is renowned for his scathing critiques of other scholars and his own highly interventionist approach to textual editing, his meticulousness and dedication to establishing a definitive text owe a debt to the tradition of scholarship exemplified by Triclinius. Housman's editions of Latin poets, such as Manilius, demonstrate a similar commitment to identifying and correcting perceived errors, a commitment that, while sometimes controversial, reflects a deep engagement with the nuances of language and meter. Housman's scathing wit and uncompromising standards served as a powerful force in shaping the field of classical studies. Conversely, Triclinius's work directly influenced Aldus Manutius, the renowned Venetian printer and publisher. Manutius's editions of the Greek classics, which were instrumental in disseminating Greek literature throughout Europe during the Renaissance, relied heavily on Triclinius's textual emendations and metrical analysis. Manutius recognized the value of Triclinius's scholarship in producing accurate and readable editions of the tragedies, ensuring their accessibility to a wider audience of scholars and readers. This influence is directly verifiable through a comparison of Manutius's editions with Triclinius's manuscripts, revealing numerous instances where Manutius adopted Triclinius's readings and interpretations. A synthesis of Triclinius's intellectual journey reveals a scholar driven by a desire to restore the perceived purity and perfection of the Greek tragic texts. He approached his task with a formidable intellect, a deep knowledge of Greek language and literature, and an unwavering confidence in his own abilities. This confidence, while sometimes misplaced, enabled him to make bold emendations that challenged conventional wisdom and sparked lively debates. His work, viewed in its historical context, represents a significant step forward in the understanding and appreciation of Greek drama. The lasting impact of Triclinius's work on the study of Greek drama and metrics is profound. His editions of the tragedies, despite their imperfections, provided a crucial foundation for subsequent scholarship, shaping the way these plays were read, interpreted, and performed for centuries. His metrical analyses, though sometimes based on questionable assumptions, stimulated further investigation into the complexities of Greek verse, leading to a deeper understanding of its rhythms and patterns. In conclusion, Demetrius Triclinius stands as a pivotal figure in the transmission and interpretation of Greek literature, whose work continues to inform and challenge scholars today. He embodies the spirit of critical inquiry, the willingness to question established authorities, and the pursuit of textual accuracy. While modern scholarship has refined our understanding of the challenges involved in reconstructing ancient texts and has revealed the limitations of Triclinius's methods, his contributions remain invaluable. He serves as a reminder that textual criticism is an ongoing process, a continuous dialogue between past and present as scholars try to recover the voices of the ancient world. Triclinius's legacy resides not only in his specific emendations, but in his dedication to the texts themselves and his unwavering belief in their enduring power to move and inspire. His work underscores the enduring value of classical scholarship, a discipline that seeks to preserve and transmit the intellectual and artistic achievements of antiquity for the benefit of future generations.
We really appreciate you tuning into this AI-powered presentation. Our goal is to push the boundaries of AI in content creation, and your input is invaluable. If there's a particular subject you'd like to see us tackle next, or if you have suggestions on how we could fine-tune our AI's creative prompts, please don't hesitate to leave your ideas in the comments section. We're excited to bring you more unique content very soon.